in Sunday night's game versus the Cleveland Browns, Ravens tight end Mark Andrews not only scored the Ravens' only touchdown, but was third on the team in solo tackles. Combs, cue that intro. Too late, man.
Gotta tell me we're doing it.
After
I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the court. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhuister here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head over to manhourradio.com and check out the merchandise page. We have the Beastie merch coming, or it's there, I should say. We have the Takeaway 22 merch is there as well. Of course, we have the OG Man Hour logo tees as well over there. All great merch, all great quality. And if you use promo code HOLIDAY15, all capitalized, save you 15% on your order. So perfect holiday gifts for anybody out there looking for some last minute gifts for your coworkers or for your mom, for your dad, or for your wife, your brother, sister. Get some Man Hour merch. That BC merch is fire, baby. Fire, fire, fire. Combs, you did a great job on the merch. So, guys, we do have an action-packed show for you tonight. We got Mr. Graham Wallace on his weekly power rankings schedule here. Week 13 of the power rankings are here. And quite frankly, guys, I'm not happy about them. They are they are Graham Wallace at Bus Wallace on the Toyota machine. Follow him. They're not that good. I'm just putting it out there, Graham. Sorry, man. They are not that good. And, of course, we're going to talk some Saints Cowboys. We're going to talk some college football playoffs. We have some spilled soup tonight. Who's ready for some spilled soup? I know I am. But what I'm really ready for is to bring my man, the peanut butter to my ladies on, the peanut butter to my ladies, the graham cracker to my saltines, Mr. Brandon Beastie Combs. What's going on, buddy?
What is going on, Michael Buckheiser? What is going on, Man Hour Nation? Man, peanut. I tried that line while you've been gone.
Oh, it failed. I saw it, man.
Yeah, they didn't like it. They, especially Soup Boss. Soup Boss was mad that I said it about Tori and then tried saying it about him. He felt like I was just two-timing it, like it's something I say to all the guys. So I don't know what was going on there, but
yeah, I mean, if you are trying to take my mojo, take it right, man. It's peanut butter to my ladies. So, but Combs, this is the first time we've been on together for a minute. It seems like it seems like every time you have something going on, I'm on the show. Every time something pops up for like me, you're on the show. So, man, how's it feel to be back? Like the boys are back in town, man.
Man, it always feels good to be back on. It's like, the OG of the show is here and we're ready to go, man. It feels like every time we do a show, something crazy happens, right?
Right.
There's some sort of something stupid gets said, something crazy happens, and we just have a blast.
Yeah. So speaking of blast, Combs, in 24 days, that is Christmas Day, right? Christmas Day is when you and me sat down and said, hey, let's just do this show. Let's do Man Hour. We are going to do 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. We are going to be on Big X Sports Radio. We are going to make this thing happen. And over the last, 347 days or whatever it is, like we have grown so much. We have gained some really good friends. Tori has joined the show. Wyatt has joined the show. We have great people in the chat. Like we have Drew in the chat. Already seen him popping in. What's up, Drew? Alpha Rob, Rock, Trent, all those guys, and Nana, of course. And they are being a part of this family and growing it and reflecting on the back, like on this last year, Combs, here in 24 days, we've come a long way, haven't we?
Man, it's been a wild ride. It's been a ton of fun. I have thoroughly enjoyed what we've done and what we've accomplished. And look, we were just two guys who like talking sports and who have a deep passion for talking sports, and then it just kind of took off from there. We had no clue what it was going to be. We set some goals for ourselves. We've slowly started to achieve those goals. I think it's been a little bit longer than we would have liked it to be, but we're starting to achieve those goals. We're starting to get some traction and see some things happen, and good things are coming for the man hour. That's for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of good things that's happening, January 1 actually be January 3rd, that first Monday of January, Combs. We will be on Roku TV with the Northwest Streaming Sports channel out there. So Man Hour is coming to a TV near you on Roku TV 5 times a week. I'm not for sure the time yet. We're still ironing out some back end deals and like whatnot, because the Man Hour, let's just be honest, Combs. When we say we are going to do something, we carry a brand along with that deal, and we want to make sure things are the way that we want to operate. So big things are happening, guys. Here we will still be here on youtube.com/man hour. Don't you guys get that twisted. This is the only place where we can really truly be raw and uncut, and I can say piss, ass, and fuck all I want and not have to worry about it. Now when we're on Roku, I'll have to write it down and edit it out and be up till 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever. It is what it is. But speaking of being up till 2 o'clock in the morning, Combs, Thursday Night Football is right around the corner, and it never fails. I'm up till about 12:30 watching the post game, watching the press conferences and all that stuff. But this Thursday night, guys, we do have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Dallas Cowboys, and it was just announced here in the last hour or so. If you're watching us live here at youtube.com/man, I'll be sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button if you'd be most inclined to. But Taysom Hill has been named the starter over Trevor Siemian for the New Orleans Saints. Combs, I thought Trevor Siemian was doing a pretty good job holding down the fort, and they had a couple good wins, right? But now Taysom Hill is back off of his concussion. He missed like 5 weeks with a concussion, but now he's being named the starter. Is this a smart move for the New Orleans Saints, or is it a dumb move, or is Sean Payton playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers?
Well, look, Marcus Simeon came in halfway through that Bucs game. When God, what's his name? Oh, come on, that's my guy too. How the hell am I afraid? Oh,
Jameis Winston.
Dubs. Jameis Winston. There you go. Thank you. God, how did I do that all the time? But anyway, when Jameis Winston got hurt, it was in that Bucs game, and Simeon did a good job of leading them to that win there in the fourth quarter. But they're 0-4 since then. They haven't won a game since. They've been close. They've been in the games. The only one they got blown out was last week against the Bills. They did lose by 11 to the Eagles, but before that they lost by 2 to the Falcons, lost by 2 to the Tennessee Titans, which is, a pretty damn good game when you only lose by 2 to the Titans. They're a damn good team.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't like Taysom Hill at quarterback anyway. He didn't impress me last year at quarterback. I don't think he is a quarterback. I think he's better suited as a gimmick guy in your offense. But we'll see. I mean, you're 0-4, so you got to do something, right? You started out the season 5-1, 5-2, and now you're staring at the barrel of 5-6, and so you've got to do something. Jameis Winston isn't coming back this year. You've lost him for the year. You've got to do something. You've got to try something because you're still in the playoff hunt. Hell, in the NFC, everybody's out. The Bears are 4-7. They're a game out of a playoff spot. It's ridiculous. So everybody's alive. The Saints are alive. They got a damn good defense. If they can figure it out on offense, they can get back into this thing. Their schedule moving forward, with the exception of the game against the Cowboys and the game against the Buccaneers, is pretty favorable because their other 4 games are against the Jets, Dolphins, Panthers, and Falcons. And those are all very winnable games. So you figure if you go, 4-2, you finish off the season at 9-8, you might be able to sneak in as a 7 seed.
Yeah. So a couple of things that you said there. Yes, they do play the Miami Dolphins, and the Miami Dolphins are starting to trend up. They're starting to find like they are starting to click here the last few games here. But the one point that I want to hit on be like you kind of just glossed over it is you think that Taysom Hill isn't a quarterback, which I totally agree with you on that. He is a tight end or the long snapper or everything else that like he does.
Why do I feel a butt coming on?
No, but I'm saying though is if you and I do not see a Taysom Hill as a quarterback, Trevor Siemian clearly is a quarterback. Yes, they have lost a couple games, but you have to realize this. They lost to a Falcons team, which is a divisional game. That was Trevor Siemian's first start in how many years, right? Then they played a damn good Titans teams that if I'm not mistaken, I still believe King Henry was playing that game. Then they lost to a very trendy, a very surging Philadelphia Eagles team, and then a damn good Buffalo Bills team, arguably the best team in the AFC. So
yeah.
With all that being said,
bad either.
Yeah. So
I mean,
why pull him?
He's only completed 57% of his passes, but he's almost thrown for as many yards in 5 games as Jameis Winston did in 7. He's thrown 9 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. I mean, your offensive line just isn't doing him any favors. The guy's been sacked 8 times in 5 games. And I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with the move. You're 0-4 and you feel like you're forced to make a move here. I don't know. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know. Maybe Taysom Hill will go and he'll start performing badly. They'll put Trevor Siemian back. I don't know. I don't know how it'll go. We'll see on Thursday.
Yeah,
they pulled this one out against the Cowboys, though. They're looking good because they can still finish the season with 10 wins if they pull this one out against the Cowboys.
Yeah, you are absolutely 100% correct there. I got a question lined up later to ask you about that, but let me ask this question here point blank. Yes, Trevor Siemian has lost 4 straight games, or I should say the Saints have lost 4 straight games. Are they in a desperation must-win right now mode? So they're trying to throw everything at the wall and hopefully something sticks. Hopefully Taysom Hill, throws for 13 yards and rushes for another 360. Like, what are your thoughts?
I don't have any hopes for Taysom Hill. I mean, I just don't. Look, I think he is a guy who is going to just barely get by as a passer. He's definitely a threat out of the run game. You basically game plan for this like you're going up against a weaker armed Lamar Jackson, right? A guy who is probably going to run, but every once in a while he might get a pass in there. God, I don't even know. I don't even know what to make of Taysom Hill because, again, this is also a Cowboys team that is so bipolar. I don't know which one's going to show up. It would not surprise me at all to see the New Orleans Saints come out and win this game 31-7.
Oh, you shut your whore mouth.
Look, the Cowboys they're not as good as you thought they were.
So the Cowboys are a very good team. They are still a Super Bowl caliber team, and they're still going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Come on, Bob.
Every team.
You need to give up on them like you gave up on the Lions.
No, the Lions still have an opportunity to make the playoffs. By the way, just throwing it out there. So with that being said, every team goes through a stretch and a part of a season, especially an 18-week season, where things just aren't clicking, where you kind of go through the motions. Also, on the Cowboys side, yes, they've lost 3 of their last 4, losing 2 in a row and losing 3 to AFC West opponents. The AFC West is a damn good division. Let's not sleep on the AFC West at all. But on the flip side of that coin, during this 2-game losing streak that the Cowboys are on, they haven't had Amari Cooper, right? There's the COVID has struck in this team, and I feel like everybody and their dog has had COVID for the Dallas Cowboys, like at this point. But one of the biggest things that are coming back for the Dallas Cowboys this Thursday night, Combs, is Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is supposed to come off of COVID-19 protocols and play Thursday night. How big is this for the Dallas Cowboys to have their number one receiver back in the lineup versus the New Orleans Saints?
That's huge. I mean, look, you start clicking on all cylinders again, like the Dallas Cowboys were earlier in the season. And, you can right the ship pretty damn quickly. The Cowboys have definitely taken advantage of being in a weak division. That's helped them out tremendously. They went on a little bit of a run there. They beat some good teams in that stretch too. I mean, don't get me wrong. They dominated the Eagles. They beat up the Chargers. They beat up the Patriots. They put 35 up on the Patriots in New England, and that's a damn good defense.
Yeah.
And so they've lost 3 out of their last 4. They lost to the Broncos, Chiefs, and Raiders, and that Raiders game stung. And remember how I said after the Bills had lost the week before last, I said, look, they need to come out and on Thanksgiving night, and they needed to throttle the Saints, and they did that. Well, here the Saints are again against a team that really needs to come out and just throttle them. That's what they need to do, and the Saints need to stop that from happening if they want a chance to at a playoff spot. So it should be a really good game on Thursday night, which is rare because we don't get a whole lot of good games on Thursday nights, but I think this is going to be a really good one.
Combs, you say it should be a good Thursday night game, but let's be honest, this is not going to be a good Thursday night game. The Dallas Cowboys, you listen here, Combs, buckle up, big boy, because I'm taking you on a roller coaster ride.
Oh, God.
The Dallas Cowboys are the best team in the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys will beat down the New Orleans Saints so bad that Taysom Hill wish he still had a freaking concussion. Hell, he might get a concussion from watching the Cowboys go up and down the field so much because Amari Cooper, Combs, you better put him on your fantasy team because this guy's hungry.
I have him on my fantasy team.
Amari Cooper's going to get 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, Combs. Mark it down. 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, 160-some yards. Hell, he may not even play quarter 2, 3, and 4 because it's going to be 35-0 after the first quarter. The Cowboys are pissed off, Combs. They are pissed off.
I started out when he went down.
Yep.
When he went down, I was 8-1 in my fantasy season. I am now 8-4, and I need a win.
So
I need him to have 3 touchdowns in that first. I need
all
him.
the good teams go through slumps.
I absolutely need him to have a good game.
Good teams go through slumps.
They do. All good teams do go through slumps. I mean, we've seen it with the Buffalo Bills are better than what their record shows.
Oh, no, they're not.
Buffalo
Bills, not. Buffalo sucks.
Stop it. The New England Patriots are better than their record shows. Those 2 teams are better than what their record shows, but they've just gone through a couple of slumps. You look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've had their ups and downs this year. You look
downs
at
and ups, right?
No, more ups and downs. Stop it. What are they, like 8-2, 8-3, something like that? I don't even know what they're. Maybe they're set. No, they're 8-3, right?
Who?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, I don't know. I think so because they're
8-3.
Yeah.
And so look, you've got teams that have their ups and downs. Look at the Rams. I mean, they started out like gangbusters, and over the last, like Matt Stafford looks like he's lost. He looks like he's back playing. Looks like he's a high school quarterback playing in the NFL right now. Yeah. I watched some of his passes this past weekend, and the underthrow. I mean, he cost the Rams probably about 21 points with missed passes. Probably about 21 points that they could have put on the board because he had guys that were open and he was underthrowing them or overthrowing them. He did not. He's looked like that way the last 3 weeks. The Rams are in one of those funks too, and if they right the ship, they're still one of the best teams in football.
So I believe it was Monday when I did the solo show. Maybe it's Tuesday. I can't remember now. Everything's still running together because it's Christmas time. It just sucks for work and life in general.
It was Monday because I was solo yesterday.
Yeah. So we weren't solo, but yeah, Luke G
I was
and myself.
solo for the first half hour.
Yeah, you jerked off.
And
for 30
I'm always
minutes.
alone when I'm with you.
Oh, baseball. Oh no. But
see, I'm always alone when I'm with you.
But
wait, bring Graham on the show so I can talk some baseball.
We will after the break. We will after the break. But I talked about the Rams a little bit, and I think Matthew Stafford's hurt. Like, I think he has some type of injury, because if you see it, like, if you watch him, week, like, I don't know, 8 and previously, he was really driving the ball down the field, hitting the receivers spot on. The last, basically since the Houston game, something's not quite right. So, like, I don't know if he's hurt or if it's Odell Beckham Jr. effect, because Odell Beckham Jr. is a cancer and very, very toxic. But
he is probably, Matt Stafford is probably the toughest quarterback in the league.
He
right?
is.
I mean, the guy is just a warrior, and he probably is. There probably is some truth to him playing hurt. But if that's the case at this point right now, from what I'm seeing from you, is you're hurting your team more than helping it. So maybe you should go ahead and take
Pause.
2 weeks.
Pause.
What?
He is not hurting his team. Sean McVay, or not, is it Sean McVay or whoever? McVay is hurting is hurting his team by not catering to that injury around Matthew Stafford. Run the damn ball more. Stop throwing it 85% of the time.
Well, not only that, but I mean, if you sit him for 2 weeks, let him get healed up. I mean, that would have been better than going out and getting his brains beat in for 2 weeks. And now, instead of a season where you started out 7-2, now you're sitting at 7-4,
right.
And Matthew Stafford still might need to sit for a couple weeks. So it's one of those things. There's a lot of the Robert Woods injury really, really hampered them.
Yeah, so
it really hampered them. I see good things out of Von Jefferson, though. But that Robert Woods injury, I think, really took a toll on them more than we would have thought that it would, especially after the signing of OBJ.
Oh, exactly. So, looking at the Rams roster here, would you rather have John Woodford or Bryce Pearson play?
Look, Wolford can play, man. Wolford could play. He could have held down the fort. I mean, he could come in and be a game manager and still not, you know what I mean? Like, what we're seeing out of Matt Stafford is no worse than what we would see out of Wolford right now.
True.
It's just not.
All right, guys, we are up against the first break tonight, so sit back, relax, get some merch while we're on break as we welcome Graham Wallace onto the show right after the break with
this is gonna be terrible.
With his week NFL 13 power rankings, guys. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Man Hour Nation brought to you by Brooks Roofing and Siding. Contact them at 812-868-7663 or online at brooksroofingin.com. Brooks Roofing and Siding, protection you need when nature strikes.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon Combs tonight. If you guys have missed any part of the show whatsoever, you can find this on podcast form at iHeart, iTunes, of course, iHeartRadio. And obviously, starting January 3rd, you can find us on Roku TV at Northwest Streaming Sports TV. We'll put the link in the description. I don't know exactly the ins and outs quite yet, but we'll let you know as more details roll out. Or you can also find us on 313 The Flash and, of course, Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 here in Jeffersonville, Indiana, every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. East Coast time. So let me welcome Combs back onto the show here.
How dare you forget our friends across the pond eating their tea and drinking their comforts, like you say.
I don't know what I said, but whatever. Let's welcome Graham on the show. Graham, what's going on, big guy?
Hey, great to be with you guys. Love giving you the power rankings, even if sometimes you don't like them. That's okay.
Hey, we always it because you do such great work, because there are very few people that actually put in the work and effort like you do. You all 32 NFL teams you give us.
I just feel like you have the Bears about 6 spots too high this week.
Well, there's only about 4 teams below them.
Yeah, exactly. You could put a couple college teams ahead of them right now.
Put maybe Alabama or Georgia ahead of them?
No, they're bad this year too. I'd put Georgia and Michigan ahead of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez, you are absolutely. All right, so if you guys are watching us here on YouTube.com, I have the bottom from 11 down to 32 teams streaming on the screen right now. So if you aren't following us on Twitter or Graham at Bus Wallace on Twitter, you should be, because you already know these rankings off your bat. So Graham, before we get too carried away, I want to talk about number 27 and number 25. That is the New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. These are two teams that are kind of not doing very well right now. Seahawks are clearly probably the worst team in the NFL, worse than the Lions, worse than the Jags, worse than the Jets. Why do you have the Seahawks at number 27 right now?
You know, we were talking a little bit before we came on, and I probably should have had them at least one spot lower with that 3-8 record. They just, honestly, guys, there's a mix of teams that probably starts at 17 with Pittsburgh, down for the next 8 or 9 teams. Really, the rest of the teams, they just look hopeless right now. They can't seem to do anything right.
Hopeless?
They can't get out of their own way. They can't seem to put up any points. Russell Wilson looks like a shell of his former self. They might need to blow it up there in Seattle. And hopeless. You watch the Saints play the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night, Thanksgiving. You probably had your turkey already. You had a few nice drinks, and you watched them, and you probably had to be thinking to yourself, how in the world is this team going to move the ball? Because I don't care if it's Trevor Siemian, I don't care if it's Taysom Hill. This offense just looks completely disjointed. Nothing like we were really used to seeing out of Sean Payton and co. I know they're missing Alvin Kamara, they're missing Thomas, they're missing almost everybody, but they just looked completely hopeless. And that's what I can say about a lot of these teams that I have bunched together, minus the Miami Dolphins, who have won 4 in a row.
Well, Graham, I don't know if you were listening before you came on, but we were talking about the New Orleans Saints and why are they going to Taysom Hill. You know, Trevor Siemian in 5 games, granted, he's only completed 57% of his passes, but in 7 games, Winston had only completed 59%. Winston in 7 games threw for 1,170 yards. Trevor Siemian in 5 has thrown for 1,083. And he's thrown for 9 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
So he's not playing terrible. He's playing just as well as the starting quarterback was playing. And now you're bringing in a guy who's a gimmick at best, and who proved last year that he's no quarterback.
No.
I other than maybe shaking it up just because you're 0-4 in your last 4 games with Trevor Siemian. 2 of those are 2-point losses. One of them is an 11-point loss to a really good, Titans team. And then you had the loss last week, which was, finally the big blowout loss. But
yeah,
I don't think Trevor Siemian was the issue in New Orleans. I think game planning is the issue. I think, having missing Alvin Kamara for 3 straight weeks is an issue. And so I think Trevor Siemian kind of got a raw deal here.
Yeah, I get that. His numbers are okay, but sometimes it goes beyond that. And when you've lost 4 straight, like you said, sometimes you're willing to try just about anything to try to mix it up. Taysom Hill brings a bit more of that power running game. Look to see him on some quarterback draws and some kind of watch for him to do some of those things. I know he's not a great passer, but he did come up with that pretty clutch pass against the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs a couple seasons ago. I know he's not really accurate with those deep balls, but they're going to try to do some different things. I think it was a zone run is what I'm trying to think. I can't think of the right play, but they kind of slide off that right
play?
tackle. Yeah. So
Yeah.
It's hard when you don't have much of a running back back there either, but I think he gives them a chance. I actually loved Taysom Hill at BYU. I thought he was a really courageous player for them. I know they ran more of an option, and that's more of what he is. He's a tremendous special teams player. He's a really good athlete. If this guy went to the Olympics and tried for an Olympic sport, he could probably do it. But is he a really good quarterback? Probably not. But I think he gets the guys. Sometimes it's just a guy that gets the guys going. And for me, I would run through a wall for a guy like Taysom Hill just because he's just an inspirational dude. And look for the Saints to play a bit more inspired ball with him. However, I'm with Buck. I think Thursday night's going to be another dreadful game, and the Cowboys are going to win big.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, look, you look at last year. I believe he came in. I believe he came in for 4 games last year when Drew Brees was out, and when he came in for those 4 games, he was something like I believe he had completed like 70% of his passes or something crazy like that. But they were only throwing the ball like 12 times a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were running the ball majority of the time, whether it was Taysom Hill taking off and running or they were giving the ball to Alvin Kamara. And so it's kind of skews his numbers a little bit. Look, they were a better team last year. You had guys who weren't hurt. Alvin Kamara was healthy, so it was a little bit easier for the New Orleans Saints last year. Alvin Kamara missing in these last 3 games has really hamstrung this team. And Trevor Siemian is a quarterback that's going to rely on a good run game. And he was not playing awful. I mean, look, as a Bears fan, and what we've seen over the last, 4 or 5 years, I'll take a guy who will throw for 9 touchdowns and 3 interceptions over 5 games absolutely any day of the week. It's usually the other way around. So I don't know. I don't see the need for the change, but we'll see how it works on Thursday night, because if they could come out, and I was talking to Bug, if they come out and they find a way to win this game, they could easily beat 10-win team this year, because other than the Buccaneers left on the schedule after Thursday, they've got the Jets, the Falcons, and the Panthers. So, those are all winnable games.
They're definitely all winnable games. I'd be surprised if they won all of them. Also, if they got to double-digit wins. Stretch play, that's the play I was thinking of. And I think they would need to customize their offense, kind of similar to like a Tim Tebow type of offense that we saw with the Broncos about a decade ago. Remember, he had a game against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he threw like 8 passes and he completed like 3 of them, but I think 1 or 2 of them were touchdowns to Eric Decker, and they ended up winning. They would need to have a similar kind of attack. Obviously have some plays out of their defense, and maybe something special happen, like a punt return touchdown or a punt block or something. They need a total team effort to win games now, because that offense is just it's not doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like Buck's having some technical difficulties here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Like you're in a megaphone.
I can't see you, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like my microphone's still going through the computer or through the stream here. But let's get into number 10 here. At number 10, you have the very struggling LA Rams. Why do you got them at number 10?
Yeah, I mean, I think some people could say, they should drop out of the top 10. They've lost 3 in a row. But remember, when they started that 3-game losing streak, they were 7-1. They were looking like perhaps the best team in the NFL. And if you look at the teams that they've lost against, Tennessee Titans, Green Bay Packers, the first loss, I can't remember that first loss, but they've definitely faced some quality opponents. Now, I agree with what you guys were talking about with Stafford. I think it's very possible that he could be playing with some kind of injury because he does not really look like himself. However, let's not forget about some of those years in Detroit. He definitely had some shaky moments. He definitely threw his fair share of interceptions. Let's not make it seem like this guy was the perfect quarterback when he came here. And he also didn't play in a lot of high pressure games, which the games are becoming more and more pressure packed as we get into December now. So I think if I agree with what you guys were saying, I think if he is seriously hurt, they need to think about bringing in John Wolford for a game or two, similar to what the Arizona Cardinals did. Have faith in your backup. Think that the rest of the team can play strong, alongside him. And, we saw a little bit of Wolford last year, and he really wasn't that bad. So they might need to consider something like that. But I look for them to get back on track with a win this week.
Yeah, they do play the Jaguars, so that's pretty easy, right?
Yeah, and you're 7-4, so this would be a perfect time if you're going to start Wolford. This week would be a perfect one before you go into Arizona next week with that big divisional game. And if the Cardinals find a way to if everybody on the Cardinals gets hurt this week and somehow they don't show up for the game and the Bears pull one out and you win this week against the Jaguars, that could be the game that decides first place in the NFC West. It would make a ton of sense to go to Wolford, or maybe they're trying to get through that Cardinals game with Stafford, because then you get the Seahawks and the Vikings before you get the Ravens. So maybe that's when they decide to rest Stafford for a couple of weeks before they play the Ravens and Niners to close out the season.
Well, and then coming at number 9, you do have another struggling team in the Tennessee Titans. They've lost 2 in a row to the Houston Texans, and then the Patriots got throttled by the Patriots. Supos' payday Patriots.
Yeah.
Why are they at number 9 still?
Well, I think it's very similar to the Rams. Yeah, they've lost 2 in a row. They've looked pretty poor doing so. Especially that the Texans loss was really, I think, the biggest upset of the NFL season so far. Perhaps along with Jacksonville beating the Buffalo Bills, but they're still in a good spot. That's the reason why I've still got them in that pretty high spot, still in the top 10 there. They're still in a good position in the AFC. They can still get that number 1 seed. Really strange fact about that game against the Patriots. Yeah, they lost the game by 23 points, but they actually had 2 100-yard rushers in this game, which is a very encouraging sign for Titans fans. Deontay Foreman and the guy who had the long touchdown run there, both had over 100 yards in this game. So that's got to be encouraging, and it gave them the freedom to go ahead and release Adrian Peterson. Apparently, he's talking with the Seattle Seahawks, which is really interesting
signed.
Development.
Yep.
He has signed.
Yep.
Okay. So obviously the run game is so important to this team. Tannehill has had some, not great moments over the last couple of weeks, so he needs to get it together. I believe some of their receiving core is out right now. But let's be honest, this is a team that's carried by its defense, usually strong special teams as well. So they just need to not make mistakes. And their schedule over the last 6 weeks is they have a lot of winnable games there. So I definitely think that they can at least win the AFC South and still, like I said, in the mix for that top seed for the AFC. So it's not all bad for the Titans.
No, I think you're being nice. It's all bad. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
AJ Brown, Julio Jones on the IR. Now your top wide receivers are Nick Westbrook, Akeen, and Chester Rogers. It just does not bode well, especially with a guy like Ryan Tannehill, who is like what I said with Trevor Siemian. He's one of those guys who is really going to rest his laurels on a strong run game. And with Derrick Henry being on IR too, I mean, look, injuries just killed the Titans season. That's what happened here. They were going to be a Super Bowl caliber team heading into the playoffs, and now they're nothing. And Buggy, I mean, you can laugh all you want, but I mean, they were running roughshod over the league until Derrick Henry went down.
You know who else runs roughshod during the league during the regular season? The Baltimore Ravens. What have they done in the
Green Bay
playoffs, Combs?
Packers.
True. Very true. Go ahead, Graham. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I was just going to say, I did find out the name of that. It was Dontrell Hilliard was the other running back. So, I mean, that is an encouraging sign. He is no King Henry. Certainly, he's more of a speed back than power and speed like Derrick Henry is. But that, like I said, that's an encouraging sign. I would not flush this season down the toilet. They still have a very good defense. And I think they're going to need to win games, 17-10 and things like that. show the toughness that they've really exhibited throughout the season, taking on the personality of their head coach, Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I mean, look, the good thing for them is that they've got a pretty soft schedule left. I mean, they've got the Jaguars, the Steelers, the Niners, the Dolphins, and the Texans. And, with the exception of maybe that Steelers game, possibly the Niners game. The Niners are one of those teams you never know who's going to show up, but
Yeah.
All of those games, I mean, they're better than each one. They'll be the favorite in each one of their remaining games. So I think that will benefit them a little bit. I think they'll still get into the playoffs. They'll probably still win the AFC South, but I don't think that they're really a threat to anybody come playoff time.
Absolutely correct. But you know who is a threat to come to, people during the playoffs? Is the Dallas Cowboys, and that's exactly who they have coming in at number 8. This is for the last couple of weeks, Graham, your power rankings have been trending, and this is another trend. The Cowboys have lost 2 in a row, much like the Titans and much like the Rams as well. Why do you got the Cowboys still at number 8, even after a tough loss on Thursday and then shellacking by the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, 2 losses in a row, actually 3 of their last 4. You could take these 3 teams at the bottom of the top 10, put them in a jar or a bottle or something, shake them around, and throw them out, and they'd be somewhere around the same. They've both been struggling over the past month or so, but they're still in a good position. They're all leading their divisions, I believe. Let me make sure that. Sorry, the Rams aren't leading their division, but they're still in a good playoff position. Cowboys. We talked about it, or you guys were talking about it earlier. Amari Cooper has not been around the last couple of weeks. He's a big-time receiver, and he makes the rest of that team go. You think about guys like CeeDee Lamb, that 2-headed monster at running back, Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. I like what I've seen out of the defense for the most part, especially Micah Parsons, but that secondary just got victimized against the Raiders, especially Anthony Brown, 4 pass interference calls. That was really the difference in the game. Wow. It seemed like they were going to still maybe pull it out. And I said to myself, like, if the Raiders lose this game, they really shouldn't lose. The Raiders, I thought, were the better team throughout the game. And the thing is, for the Cowboys, though, it's still all there in front of them. They got 6 games left. If they could find a way to win, say, 4 of them, they're still in a pretty good position. They probably won't be close to that number 1 seed, but they'll still have a home playoff game. And let's be honest, they haven't won a lot of playoff games since their last Super Bowl title in 1995. So I think Cowboy fans and also Buck yourself need to kind of temper the expectations as far as a Super Bowl appearance this season, because there is a bright future there in Big D.
You didn't have to separate Buck from Cowboys fan. Buck is a Cowboys fan.
Okay.
He just doesn't like to admit it. He's really so he's a Chiefs, a Packers, a Cowboys. Him and Drew have like 17 teams that they true for. Yeah, he loves the Detroit Lions. So it is what it is. But look, the thing is that much like I said, if the Saints find a way to win, they could be a 10-win team. If the Cowboys find a way to lose this week, man, look, Washington's playing better football. The Giants are playing better football. Then they have the Cardinals on their schedule too. They got the Washington twice. They got the Saints, the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Eagles left. It's not a very easy back end of the schedule. They could very easily find themselves at 8-9 or 9-8 this season.
Yeah, and speaking of 8-9 and 9-8, the Buffalo Bills are on track for that as well after losing to the Colts and then beating the Saints, a very, very bad Saints team right now. But that's who you have coming in at number 7, your Buffalo Bills, Homer.
I don't know. I don't know about all that. If you look at power rankings through a lot of media outlets, they're going to have them somewhere in that top 10. I can't figure this team out, guys. They lose to Jacksonville about a month ago. They can't score a touchdown. They struggle against the Miami Dolphins as well. I'm trying to think of some of their other performances. They blow out the Jets, and then they lose. Well, exactly. Who doesn't? The Tennessee Titans don't. That's who don't. That was a very surprising loss as well. And then they lose against the Colts by nearly 4 touchdowns. So a nice bounce back against the Saints. But I'm having a hard time figuring this team out. Josh Allen's making more of these risky plays that he was able to stay away from last year. I still think the defense is a strong unit. However, they seem very prone to giving up a lot of yards on the run in the run game. I still think their secondary is probably a top 5 secondary in the NFL. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are just an excellent combo back there, but they're a little small up the middle with guys like Matt Milano And
Yeah.
Edmonds is the other linebacker I'm thinking of. I like what they've done at the running back position, inserting a guy like Matt Breida, who was a healthy scratch for the first several games of the season. He had gotten to the end zone a couple of times in recent weeks. He's more of a speed, dynamic pass catching type of back, whereas they had just kind of a thunder and lightning combination with Singletary and Zach Moss. So I like what he brings to it. I still think they have a really good receiving core. Dawson Knox is back in the fold. They got to find a way to win this game Monday night against the Pats, and then they're right back where they need to be.
And that's the thing, you look at this Buffalo Bills team, and you can very easily look at their schedule and say, well, you started out the season 4-1, and since then you've gone loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. But 2 of those losses in that stretch, they really should have won. They obviously they just fell asleep and forgot to play when they went to Jacksonville. That's just, I mean, look, that's just plain and simple. And then that Titans game, they had the Titans on the ropes, and then Derrick Henry just ran wild all over them, and that was the issue there. They need, if they're going to beat New England, they've got to find their run game. They've got to find their run game in this game, because that's how you beat New England. A strong run game is how you beat New England, and if they can find that this week, if they can figure it out again and ride that train, they can beat New England. If not, man, it's gonna, like, Buffalo Bills fans are really gonna start shaking their head and wearing paper bags to the stadium again, because it's gonna be tough to watch this team, because this is a team that, let's face it, they were finally so pumped. Oh, Brady's gone. We're gonna win the AFC East. We're gonna be the franchise to watch now in the AFC East. And now all of a sudden, Mac Jones comes out, and here we are. I want to see how Mac Jones performs against this defense, though, too, because this defense is a very stout defense. Granted, they did lose their number 1 cornerback. His name's going to escape me here.
Tre'Davious White.
Tre'Davious White. There you go. And so I'm really excited for this game. Out of all the games this weekend, I think that this is the game to watch. I think it's number 1. It's the best matchup. There's a lot of blah games this Sunday. A lot of games that are very easy to predict. But this game on Monday night is going to be the game to watch. I'm really excited to see. I'm actually excited to see how the Patriots fare against a team like Buffalo. And if they beat them, and if the Patriots win this division, man, I'm going to say it right now. As much as I don't like the Patriots fan base, I'm rooting for Patriots and Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, because I want to see Belichick versus Brady in the Super Bowl.
Wow, I feel like we talked about that a couple of weeks ago with Soup Boss, but that would be potentially a very historic Super Bowl, a very highly rated Super Bowl, maybe the most highly rated Super Bowl of all time. I do not want to see that. I would love to see my Bills get back in there, or just another team besides the Buccaneers and the Patriots would be great for me. But as far as that run game going, they need Josh Allen to be involved in the running game as well, because he's a real weapon when he uses his legs and his arms. He's just got to stay away from the stupid throws that he's been prone to make this season.
I'm into, if we do get that Super Bowl, Graham, what is your over-under on jerseys in the stands that are half Patriots, half Buccaneers Tom Brady jersey?
Oh, geez, I don't know, 1,000?
Yeah,
whatever.
It's got to be.
It'll be 2.
Is that too low?
It'll be 2.
It'd be one of those. It'd be one of those games where no matter what, New England fans would be happy. They would find a way to root for both teams. It's just how New England fans are.
Yeah, it's funny. Peter King did a story about this early in the season, and he talked to a lot of different people from the New England area, and some people were like that, and some people were, I'm going to cheer for him, and then as soon as he comes out, I'm cheering for the sack. I want us to win. So there are Brady fans, and there are Patriots fans. We love you. We love what you did, but you're on the other team now, so we want to beat you. So
well, let's face it, those ones that he only talked to like 4 people that were like that. So there's only 4 real Patriots fans out there.
Well, a few different types, yeah.
Speaking of real fans, Chiefs Kingdom has the greatest fan base in all of America, and that's exactly who you have coming in at number 6, Graham, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs, winners of 4 in a row versus the Giants, Packers, Raiders, and Cowboys. And they're so good that their game got flexed to Sunday Night Football versus the Buccaneers. How good are the Kansas City Chiefs right now?
I believe it's the Denver Broncos.
The Denver Broncos. Actually. That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it did get flexed in, thank God, because the other game was just a god-awful matchup. We already got kind of treated to Washington and Seattle on Monday night. That was just a brutal game. So I'm really glad that happened. Really like what I've seen out of the defense over the last month. Steve Spagnuolo is in that kind of mid-season form. I don't know what it is with this guy, but he can't seem to get his guys or his schemes to work in the first 2 months of the season. But Chris Jones is looking like a world beater right now. They still have Tyrann Mathieu back there, and they're doing enough offensively, even though I still think they're lacking that game breaker on the opposite side of the field, opposite of Tyreek Hill, I should say. Kelsey is still probably the best tight end in football, and that's
Probably.
enough.
What?
Okay, he's the best tight end
There
in
you go.
football. You know, they have a decent running game. That's been enough. They may not be the dynamic Kansas City Chiefs that we've seen over the past 3 seasons, but if you mix in a defense that's getting after the quarterback, especially that rush up the middle, forcing turnovers, I think they're enough to be one of the top teams in the AFC, and that's where they are right now at number 6. So they're right in the mix.
So if you don't mind, let me talk a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs. And
Oh God.
a
Here we go.
couple years ago when they won the Super Bowl, I may or may not have my Super Bowl hat here on my head, but
we wouldn't be able to see it anyway, Buck. Your camera's
exactly.
off.
But
I thought you were rocking Royals. Okay.
but the Kansas City Chiefs started out that season 6-3. Guess what they were just a couple weeks ago? They were 6-3 as well, right? So with that being said, they are Super Bowl caliber team. On the other side of that ball, here in the last 3 or 4 weeks, they have finally moved Chris Jones back into the inside where he belongs. And they tried with him with the stand-up defensive end crap. That just doesn't work. Put the man back in the middle where he belongs. And since then, the Kansas City's defense has not sucked,
Buck,
and
stop.
they've actually been the best in the NFL.
Buck, first of all, when they won the Super Bowl, they were 6-3, right? And you said they were 6-3. That shows how little you're paying attention because they were never 6-3. They started out the season 3-4.
6-4.
Yes.
My bad, Combs. My bad. Sorry,
Second of
2016 is not last year. My bad.
Second of all, you ready for a hot take, Graham?
Yes.
The Kansas City Chiefs are going to lose 4 games in their next 5,
Oh my god.
and they're going to finish the season 9-8.
You're such a whore.
And the Denver Broncos, who have a much easier schedule down the stretch, are going to win this division, and they're going to win this game on Sunday night.
Wow. That is scorching hot. I don't know if I could get behind that.
Exactly.
I just don't trust Teddy. Steady Teddy.
You don't have to get in
doesn't
front of
want
it,
to
just don't be-
tackle anyone on the interceptions. Yeah, I'm still talking about
you
that.
don't have to get behind it. Just get in front of it. Just don't get in front of it because it'll run you
Okay.
over when it happens. Because
Wow.
look, they've
That
got the
will run you
Chiefs,
over.
but then they get the Lions, Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs again. So and then they got the Bengals mixed in there, and the Bengals, man, they're another team. You just don't know who's going to show up every damn week. But I'm telling you right now, watch this happen. They're going to lose 4 out of their next 5, and the
Wow.
Denver Broncos are going to win 4 out of their next 5, and they're going to win this division.
Wow, that would be. I would be very shocked. I don't know if I could get with that, but I love the take. I love the boldness of the take. We'll see what happens.
I mean, it's totally 100% wrong. But one thing that has been bold are the New England Patriots, winners of the 6 in a row here.
Yeah.
And Graham, you have them coming in at number 5. Supos is
You know
not
how
going
I
to
know
like
I'm right
this.
there? You know how I
No.
know I'm right, Graham?
Why?
Buck said I was wrong.
There's the telltale sign. Well, I did too, so that might not look good for me. If it happens, I'll wear that. A lot of people have Pats a little bit higher, maybe in the top 2 or 3. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. Mac Jones is still a rookie. He's looked like a 10-year veteran. Give the guy the offensive rookie of the year now. Well, maybe Jamar Chase, but
How about
a
Micah
receiver
Parsons?
almost never wins that award. That's defensive rookie of the year. You could give it to him now as well. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is Mac Jones is looking great as a quarterback back there. Damian Harris, the run game is looking good as well. The defense is stout. And the receiving options, Jacoby Myers and the like, are kind of doing enough, getting open, finding separation. So you said it, Combs. I think Bills Nation were like, okay, AFC East title is ours for the next decade, and Mac Jones is like, well, actually, I have plans for that. I won a lot at Alabama. I plan on winning a lot here as well. He just seems like a perfect quarterback for that system and for that culture. Just kind of a real steady guy, never gets too high or low. So obviously, this is the biggest game of his career. It's going to be in Buffalo. It's going to be cold, and that crowd is going to be live. So, Combs, you said it. It's going to be a great game, and I look for Bills Mafia and that defense to show up big time.
It's a lot easier to win games, Graham, when your team in 4 games your defense is only giving up 26 total points. They've given up 6, 7, 0, and 13 in their last 4. I mean, it makes it a lot easier to win football games as a rookie in the NFL.
You're right.
But this New England Patriots team is just, I mean, look, this is Bill Belichick's best defense. And you know, our boy Wayne G said this before the season, and I laughed at him. He called it before the season, and he said everything that's going on is what he said would go on, and he predicted this team to be 11-6 this year.
Wow.
And he is on point with it. I laughed at him. I laughed at him halfway through the season.
Yeah,
but
think we all
he is
did.
Absolutely, positively correct. And I still want to see where they're at over these next 3 weeks, because these next 3 weeks for me are the telltale sign for the New England Patriots. Sorry, next 4 weeks, because they've got a bye week in there.
They have a late bye, yeah.
But it's going to be interesting for me to see how these teams are moving forward, because if the New England Patriots find a way to win 2 out of these next 3, or even all 3 of these next 3 games that they've got, watch out for this Patriots team, because they're going to be really tough to beat.
Well, they got Buffalo 2 of the next 3. I think they got Indianapolis or some other team squeezed in between. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Bills and Pats perhaps split their season series. Then it's probably going to come down to the last week or 2. So definitely they've improved since last season. They went 7-9 last year, but you knew they were going to find a way to run it back. They had some under the radar free agent signings, guys like Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry was one of the more splashy ones, but you know, Belichick's going to find a way to get that defense cranked up again. Matthew Judon, potential defensive player of the year candidate, 12.5 sacks there from his defensive end position.
And that was a huge question mark before the season, right? How was Judon going to factor into this defense? You know, was he going to be able to perform? And look, they have clicked on all cylinders all season long. This defense has been good. And this is a really interesting team to me. And I hate admitting it. Because I really do, I really can't stand Patriots Nation. I really I spent the last 15 years in New England before I moved back home to Chicago, Graham.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's just been terrible to listen to them every damn sport. They're winning championships, and they don't ever let you I'd say probably about 65 to 70% of Pats fans couldn't name you a quarterback before Drew Bledsoe. And it drives me insane. Drives me absolutely insane, and they just shove it down your throat even when they're bad. We were supposed to have 4 seasons without the New England Patriots being good, weren't we, Graham?
Yeah, well, at least 2.
God.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Combs, on the flip side of that, Tom Brady was there for 20 years, so most of the Patriots fans were 10 years old when they started watching the game. So Tom Brady was a rookie then. Now they're 30-ish. Makes sense, right?
Shut up, Buck.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So on the flip side of that coin, the Patriots do have the 5th hardest remaining schedule for the rest of the season. The team that has the 4th hardest schedule of the remaining season moving forward, and that's who you do have coming in at number 4. That's the Baltimore Ravens. They are fresh off a win over the Bills and the Browns, and then they play the Steelers, Browns, Packers, Bengals, Rams, Steelers to end out the season. Do you have faith in the Baltimore Ravens to maintain that number 1 seed in the AFC going into the playoffs?
I'm not sure. It's been really weird. Lamar Jackson's had such a strange season. He's up to 13 interceptions.
Because he's trash.
In that
stop it.
Sunday night game against the Browns. He has looked pretty horrible at times this season, but this team has a strange way of pulling out games that they have no business winning. The game against the Bears a couple weeks ago when they had Tyler Huntley in definitely strikes a chord. You think about the game against the Indianapolis Colts. They were down 16 points in the 4th quarter, or 14 points or something like that. Also the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe it was the second Sunday night game of the season. They were down a couple touchdowns in the second half of that game as well. This team just has a tendency to find a way to win. And while I do think they'll probably drop at least a couple more games, I do think that they have that in them. And it wouldn't surprise me to see them be the number 1 seed in the AFC at the end of the season.
Lamar Jackson, who Buck likes to call trash, has been sacked 30 times through the first 10 games of this season. And I think that is taking a toll on them. He's also got 400 more yards than the next leading rusher on the team.
Wow.
So, yeah, he's got 700 plus yards, and then I think the next closest doesn't even have 400. So
Freeman, maybe.
Yeah. And so this team is so one-dimensional that I think that, going down the stretch here, you're playing up against some really good defenses. You got to go to Pittsburgh. You got to play at Cleveland. You got to play the Packers, Bengals, Rams, and Steelers again. I really think that this team could find a way to only be 9-8 or 10-7 at the end of the season. That is a rough stretch of games.
It is.
And so I don't like their schedule moving forward. I don't think they hang on to the number one spot. It would not surprise me at all if they just completely lose their minds and lose their skirt on this one and end up at 8-9. Don't win another game this season.
So are they 8-3 now? 8-4, I believe.
8-3. Yep.
8-3. So 6 games remaining. Even if they go 3-3, that's 11-6. There are definitely some tough games in there. I think they find a way to win 4 of them and finish 12-5. I don't know what it is, but I have faith in this team. And they've shown an ability to throw the ball down the field at times this year. You think about guys like Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown. Devin Duvernay is another guy who's definitely got some wheels. They've got some weapons going down the field. They just they choose to run it, over 50% of the time, which is more of a throwback style. But when Jackson's in the mix there, you don't know if he's going to hand it off or run it himself. Or sometimes he does the fake handoff, looks like he's going to run, and then he ends up throwing. So they're pretty multi-dimensional that way. And I trust John Harbaugh. That's the other part of this. There's something about this guy. He always tries to find a way to win. He's got this whiny, were we offside? He always has this kind of whiny look on his face every time there's a penalty.
Never trust a Harbaugh.
Is really annoying, but maybe it's their year, guys. Michigan beat Ohio State for the first time in a century, a decade, something like that. So
yeah, now
maybe
they're going to lose to
Ravens
Iowa and find their way out of the damn college football playoff.
That would be so Michigan. Yeah, that's funny.
So many people are upset in the chat that the Baltimore Ravens are number 4. Many people are saying 4 is way too high. 6 through 9-ish are they saying where they should be at? What are you saying to those haters, Graham?
Well, I'm saying that they're 8-3. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC, and
facts.
That is facts, and they control their own destiny. So Lamar Jackson needs to take that 4 interception game against the Browns and just throw it away like he should have done some of those footballs that ended up in the hands of the Browns receivers, and just try to find a way to be better over the last 6 games of the season. Continue to pound the ball. So that's the main reason I have them there. I like what I've seen out of the defense at times, been able to force some turnovers, and they control their own destiny. So that's got to fire them up. I understand some people would like to have them lower, but those teams I have lower are all on losing streaks right now.
Don't be nice to our listeners. Tell them, say, if you don't like my rankings, make your own rankings.
Exactly. Yeah, and we would love to have you on too.
Rankings. Yeah.
So speaking of making your own rankings here, for whatever reason, you have the Green Bay Packers coming in at number 3. We have 2 other teams left out there.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? I think they're too low. Why you have them at number 3?
They suffered a bit of a setback a couple weeks ago. That tough game against the Minnesota Vikings. It seems like Darnell Savage had the interception in overtime. Couldn't quite come up with it. He trapped the ball against the turf there. Captain Kirk was able to find a way for the Vikings to win that ball game. Nice bounce back game for them against the Rams. I like what the defense is doing. Joe Barry has his unit playing at a really high level right now. Aaron Rodgers has things going. They have 2 good running backs. There's a lot to like with this team. I just like the teams that I have ahead of them just a little bit more.
Which the team that you have ahead of them are the Bucks at number 2 and the Cardinals at number 1. I don't know why, but why are the Cardinals at number 1?
What do you mean you don't know why?
Because the Cardinals suck.
The Cardinals have the best record in the NFL.
I don't care.
They're 9-2. They're coming off a really good couple of wins with Colt McCoy. He completed over 80% of his throws.
Say that one more time. Coming off 2 good wins with who?
Colt McCoy.
Which is a
Yes,
better
but-
quarterback than Kyler Murray, right? Thank you.
Shut up.
Carry on.
Oh, that's it. Cubs is God.
Yeah.
He's God.
I hate him. I hate him. This team was 8-0 when Kyler Murray went down. Sorry, 8-1 when Kyler Murray went down.
8-1.
They are 9-2 now with Colt McCoy, and now they've got Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins both coming back.
And they're playing the
How
Bears.
are they not the best team?
Yeah. It took me a while to get on this train, Combs, but I'm on it. I'm up there front with the engineer. I'm scooping some coal into the fire. Let's go with this. I took my lumps as far as not having them there, but I've got them there.
I told you.
And they're going to stay there as long as they keep winning. The reason they have them at number one, Buck, is because they have the best record.
Well,
Now, some people might want to have the Bucks or Packers or some other team ahead of them there, but
Yeah.
you are what your record says you are, as the big tuna Bill Parcells said. So they have the best record. They're the best team.
well, and on
No,
the flip
yeah,
side
but-
of that, Combs, hang on. On the flip side of that, every time Graham puts a team at number one the last 6 weeks, that team's losing. Pick the Chicago Bears
No.
versus the Arizona Cardinals this week, guys.
Book
Do
it.
it.
No, he had the Cardinals at one last week, and they won.
No.
that's-
You had the Packers a couple weeks ago, right?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Let me see.
I was
Last
gone
week was the
last
record
Cardinals.
Wednesday.
No,
Yeah.
I did have Cardinals. Yeah,
Okay.
it was with Combs and Soup Boss.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they were weren't the Cardinals on a bye week, so they couldn't have lost. So there you go.
Yeah, that's right.
They still didn't lose.
Well, I mean, a couple weeks ago, I had Titans at number one, and look what's happened to them
Yeah.
since. So
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, they've also been riddled with injury.
I know.
You didn't know
I-
that Julio Jones and give yourself some credit here, Graham. Your rankings were really good, with the exception of you had the Bears at 28 when they should have been at 32. Actually, probably about 36. And so I just
And the Lions should have
other
been
than
top
that-
15 team.
Oh my
Buck,
gosh.
shut up. Oh my god.
So just to recap the top 10 rankings, we have the 11 through 32 on the screen, or you guys can follow us on Twitter if you want to check that out, just like as well. At number 10, you have the LA Rams. Number 9, you do have the Tennessee Titans. Number 8, you have the Dallas Cowboys. Number 7, you have the Buffalo Bills. Number 6, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 5, the New England Patriots. Number 4, the Baltimore Ravens. 3, the Green Bay Packers. 2, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And number 1, the greatest team in America, the Arizona Cardinals. Combs, anything that you want, any teams that you would take out of the top 10?
No, if I was going to take anything out of this top 10, it would have been you.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
That's whatever.
That's
I'm-
kind of
I'm
how I
speechless.
felt about it too. These are the top 10. I feel confident about the top 10. You might say, "Oh, this team's at number 6; they should be at number 8," or
Yeah.
"This team's at number 4; they should be
I,
at 2."
I felt like
but,
the
I mean,
Patriots could have been higher than
Yep.
5. You probably could have, who was at 4 again?
I had
Ravens.
Ravens at 4.
Yeah, you could have put the Patriots ahead of the Ravens, but I'm okay with the Ravens right now being ahead of the Patriots. I mean, they're ahead of them in the standings, so why not ahead of them in the power rankings? I'm okay with it either way. I mean, look, I think that the Green Bay Packers are a very good team, but I still think that the Cardinals are better. I think the Cardinals are better all the way around. And so, look, with the exception of the quarterback position, I think the Cardinals are just as good, if not better, at every position. I mean, you look at top wide receiver, you could put Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins 1A and 1B, and it doesn't matter which one they are. After that, the Cardinals easily have them at every position.
Whoa.
So I would
You're saying the Cardinals are better than the Bucks at every position?
I thought we were talking about
than
the
the
Packers.
Packers.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Okay. I'm sorry.
It didn't show up when they played each other in the Thursday night game, and Buck and I were talking about that game before, and Buck was all over the Packers in that game, and I was not, because the Packers were missing a lot of their receivers. Now,
All
just
of them
'cause they
except
beat
for Randall
them
Cobb.
once- Yeah, it doesn't mean they're a better team, but I'm just saying it didn't show up when they played each other. I'm looking very much forward to if they have a rematch sometime in January in the playoffs.
So,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
there are certain teams that just match up better versus other teams, and I think the Packers match up better versus the Arizona Cardinals, but I don't think the Packers
They beat 'em
are
by
better
3.
without the receivers. Combs, I mean, so, but on the
That was
flip,
the same game that Kyler Murray got hurt and DeAndre Hopkins went out.
okay,
And AJ Green had like a stroke in the end zone when he should have caught the game-winning touchdown. I don't know what happened there. But...
And Colt McCoy almost led them back against the Green Bay Packers. Stop it, Buck.
No, the Packers match up better versus the Arizona Cardinals than any other team in the NFL.
Okay. All right. You're wrong,
well,
but
he's actually going to walk off this time. Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah. Quick, somebody called 911. But Graham,
because then we'd have to leave Buck alone, and we don't know what happens when Buck is by himself. We'll get shut down.
Especially with no camera on. I might be naked. You never know.
Damn.
Oh, all right, man. Graham, as always, thank you for joining us, man. Before we let you go, tell the people where they can find your blogs.
You got it. Belly Up Sports, MLB tab. I got some off-season stuff there. It's been a crazy off-season. I've had a few articles come out. Also, jaysjournal.com, working on some players the Jays should be looking at, even though a lockout is pending. Bus Wallace, at Bus Wallace on the Twitter machine, as you would say, Buck. Also, come hit me up on Instagram.
Cubs just inked a former Jay here for 3 years and $73 million. Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, I love that signing. They also got Yan Gomes earlier, a couple days ago. So, although they're rebuilding, a couple nice moves by the Cubs early on in free agency.
Very non-loyal to go sign Yan Gomes, but not give Willie an extension. I'm not happy about that.
What can you do?
Hey, guys, speaking of baseball, tune in tomorrow. We might have a special guest. We might have some breaking news. You never know. You never know what's going to happen here on the Man Hour. But, Bus, thank you for joining us, man. We'll see you next week.
Okay. Thanks, guys. See ya.
All right, guys, we're up against the next break here. Stay tuned on the other side of the break. We do have some stuff happening. I don't know what's happening because my microphone's not working. My camera's not working. I don't know. We'll figure something out. We'll be right back, guys, here on the Man Hour. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckhosh along with Brandon Combs tonight. My camera is not working right now, so Combs is going to be all beautified, looking there all gingerfied by himself. But, guys, it is that time of night where we open up the floor to questions, to comments. It's time for Shop Talk, Combs. Shop Talk is brought to you by Yeats Sunglasses. Description is in the description. YeatsOriginal.com. Promo code MANHOUR to save you guys just 20%. The best sunglasses you ever put on your face. It is Oakley's with half the Oakley price, so they're Coakley's, basically. I'm totally kidding. But with that being said, one comment that come out and popped at me, bit me in the face, is like, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's our girl Liz, the designer of the Beastie merch, Combs. She says, LOL, I just had to rewatch what Combs said about the Denver Broncos to make sure I heard that right. Go Broncos! What? Were you trying to pump her up, Combs, or what?
No, look, I look at the schedule. I think that the Broncos are going to win this Sunday night, and I look at the schedule going forward, and I like what I see on the Broncos schedule, and I think that the Kansas City Chiefs have a little low point in them. I'm not impressed with what they've done. so far. I know they've won 4 straight games, but I'm not impressed with how they're winning them. I see a lot of holes in their game. I think the Denver Broncos are going to be able to take advantage of those holes in that game, and then their remaining schedule is just favorable. You know, I mean, Liz knows anything from the time that we've talked sports in the office or out of the office. She knows for sure that I'm not a Broncos fan, and I will hate on them just as quick as I like them. But right now, like when I look at it realistically, I think the Kansas City Chiefs have a real shot to lose this division, and I think the Denver Broncos have a real shot to win it.
Yeah. So, as I do agree with you that the Broncos and Chiefs will split the series this year. Will it happen on Sunday like the Chiefs get the loss? I don't know, man. It's Sunday night game. The barbecue's going to be grilling. Fans are going to be drunk. I mean, it is a tough place to play at Arrowhead, especially on a Sunday night game. But with that being said, let's look at the Broncos' last 4 games. They beat a really good, a underrated Washington team, a Washington football team that Tory Wood had going 13-4, right? And we laughed at him. And yes, they started out slow because of, you know, Fitz Magic got hurt, and it took time to really find their traction. But four weeks ago, they were starting to find that traction, and they beat them. They beat a really good Dallas Cowboys team. The score says 30-16, but let's just be honest, that was a shutout. They whooped the Cowboys' ass. And then they lost to a very good Eagles team that is trending up. And the Chargers have kind of fallen off the map here the last couple weeks as well. So sitting at 6-5.
Washington?
4 weeks ago, they played Washington, yeah.
Who?
The Broncos.
Oh! I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah, so right now the Denver Broncos are sitting at 6-5. They play the Chiefs twice. They play the Raiders, the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Lions. First of all, we don't know what the hell the Bengals are. If you want bipolar, watch the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
We don't know who they are. The Detroit Lions. I think
it's the same thing with the Denver Broncos. I think that they're very bipolar too. It's one of those things that they're one of those teams I can't figure out, can't put my finger on. But I look at the numbers, I look at what they've done. That defense has been solid all season long. It's been the offense that's kind of been up and down, and I think that they found something over the last few weeks.
Well, and
so,
also
I mean, to put up 30 on the Cowboys in Dallas is big. To put up 28 on the Chargers is big. So.
Well, and also on the bright side, Cortland Sutton is back as well, so that gives him some offense of stability as well. So let's just cancel out the Kansas City Chiefs games here: Lions, Bengals, Raiders, Chargers. 4 games that they're probably going to be favored in, Combs. That gives them 10 wins on the season. That's a playoff bound team. That's a playoff-bound team, yeah.
I agree. And look, the big what if is what if Teddy Bridgewater goes down?
No, because I think the biggest what if is what if the Lions beat them? How much does that hurt your ego?
Dude, if the look, you know, we just made Liz's night by me talking about it. But Liz, don't show up to work if the Lions beat the Broncos. Because look, I don't think it'll happen. But if it does happen, like, yikes! Yeah, that would totally change everything that I think about them right now. But look, the Broncos are that team that you're like, I don't know what team's going to show up this week. So. I think if they beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday, like I think that they will, I think that they are going to sort of run the table. They might lose that second game versus the Chiefs, but I think that the rest of their games are very winnable.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And earlier in the season, when we did our preseason picks for the division, way too early, back in February or like March, I actually had the Kansas City Chiefs losing this division and the Chargers winning the division. I don't think any of us had really the Broncos above 500, right? They're like 7-10, 8-9 type of team, right? They were not a 10-17.
Yeah, I can't remember what I had them at. I know I did like Teddy Bridgewater. I'm looking for my my playoff predictor right now to bring it up to see what I had him at. But
I had him at 6-11.
did.
Shit.
You had him at 6-11. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had him at 5-12.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
they've already beat me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looking good right now. So we're scrolling through the chat here, guys. Shop talk time. If you have any questions you want to ask us, let us know. We will get to it as soon as we can. Trent Mason here. He is a Baltimore Ravens fans comb here. So he says, as a avid Ravens fan, the Ravens will not finish the season with less than 5 losses. You had them 9-8.
I agree. I look at their schedule, and you look at what the Baltimore Ravens, how look, this Baltimore Ravens team is, and we talk about bipolar. There's a lot of parity in the NFL this year.
Oh, facts.
But when you've got to go, you got to play the Steelers. You got to play the Browns again, another very good defense. You just barely beat them at home, 16-10, but now you got to go to Cleveland and play them. Then you got to play the Packers. You got to play the Bengals, who have shown signs of greatness. And then you got to play the Rams, and then you got to play the Steelers again. That's a tough stretch of games. I agree they're not going to have less than 5 losses. I would venture to say probably 7. I would say 10-7 is, and that's 2-4 in your last 6. So it gets you into the playoffs. I don't think it wins the AFC North, though. I think the Bengals sneak in there and find a way to do it.
So there is always a good saying, like, you have to learn how to lose before you can win, type of thing. And I think that's why the Baltimore Ravens have never had success in the playoffs. Yes, they got that one playoff win last season. I forget who they played. They played the Titans, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then they went to New York and got their butt kicked by the Bills. But I think the reason why Lamar Jackson has not had that postseason success like they have hoped for is because of all the regular season success that they've had. What they've been 14-2, 15-1, right? I mean, they have won a lot of games. They've never had to go through adversity in a season or let alone a game. This year, the Baltimore Ravens, they have had to come back from double-digit deficits 4 times this season. What has been the biggest problem for Lamar Jackson in the past years, Combs, is once he's down, you can basically write him off. He is not going to come back from that at all. He tries to force the ball down the field. He will throw his picks and then basically try to score it all on one play. Well, you can't score 22 points in one play. It's just impossible. So this year, I think he is understanding like hey, we have to break it down in like chunks, right? Like we have to do this. And the adversity with the Chiefs game, with the Colts game, what other game did that to come from behind and win? Was it the Vikings? I think they come back and won against the Vikings. Yeah, I mean, this might be
the Bears game too.
Yeah, so the Baltimore Ravens losing 5 or 6 games would not hurt them whatsoever. As long as they make it to the playoffs, those 6 losses would help them to the playoffs. Does that make sense, Combs?
So, do you think the Baltimore Ravens win a game in the playoffs?
If they lose more than 6, or if they lose a couple games throughout the rest of the season, whether it be to the Packers or the Rams or the Steelers or the Bengals, if they lose 2 or 3 more games, they will win a first-round playoff game. If they go undefeated for the rest of the season, they will not win a playoff game.
So what you're saying is that they can't get a first-round bye and be okay.
Yeah.
Because 14-3, you're probably getting a first-round bye in the AFC, right?
Oh, I'm pretty sure. I mean, hell, I bet you in the AFC you could probably have 11 wins with the right tie breakers, and you get the first round bye, because they have a head-to-head win versus the Chiefs. They had the head-to-head win, obviously versus probably the Browns. Who else could possibly sneak in there as the number one seed? The Titans. They haven't played the Titans, but they beat the Colts, which had the Colts beaten Titans? No, they didn't. They got swept by them, right?
No.
Yeah, I can't
And
remember.
it's probably
Yeah.
between them, New England, or Buffalo, who's going to be fighting for the number one seed. Whoever wins that AFC East, they're probably going to win the NFC East or AFC East at either 11-6 or 12-5. So.
Yeah, but like either way. So Trent Mason with the super chat here. Thank you, Trent, for the super chat. He says the Ravens are a regular season win generator. Yeah, they don't lose in the regular season for whatever reason. What 14-2, 15-1? No, they were 14-2 and 13-3 the last couple of seasons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've been great. Let's just be honest. They've been great in the regular season.
They have, and they won a first round playoff game last year, if I'm not mistaken. And then who did they lose to in the second round? Was it
the Buffalo Bills?
Buffalo?
Yeah, it was the Buffalo Bills, but Lamar Jackson got knocked out with a concussion the second quarter, maybe third quarter.
Yeah, and look, Buffalo's just a really good football team. That's not anything to hang your hat on. They were just a better team that day, and Lamar Jackson had his head knocked off.
Yeah,
I mean, so they're one of those teams that's tough to figure out to me. They are just not just tough to figure because they're good, but how good? You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
they're a top tier NFL team, but are they elite? Is what I can't figure out.
I don't think we have any elite teams in the NFL this season.
Yeah, we do.
Who? Well, besides the Cardinals.
You have the Arizona Cardinals are an elite team. Right now, you've got the Baltimore Ravens are close to being an elite team.
Close is not elite, though, Come on now.
Yeah, but I think if you're going to talk about elite, I think right now you're talking about the Cardinals and the Ravens, to be honest with you. I mean, that's about it right now. There's a lot of parity in the NFL. It's been a crazy season to watch. You see a lot of games. Look, who the hell would have thought that the Los Angeles, or not the Los Angeles Rams, but the Buffalo Bills would have lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars this year?
Right.
In a game that finished 9-6.
So usually by week 10, week 11 of the NFL season, there are some teams mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, right? This year there is none. We're going into week 13, Combs, and there are no teams mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yet.
When I told you that I had the Cardinals at 15-2, you guys thought I was out of my mind.
Yeah.
You had them as the worst team in the NFC West.
But spoiler alert, still with 11 wins though.
But if I would have told you, hey, in week 12 or week 12, they're going to walk into Seattle. Colt McCoy is going to be their quarterback, and DeAndre Hopkins is going to be out. They're going to walk into Seattle and win that game by 10 points. You would have called me crazy.
Oh, 100%. Also on the flip side,
that's what happened last week.
Yeah,
like who? I just you don't know what's going to happen this year in the NFL. You really don't.
So I saw a stat where Colt McCoy is 2-2 or 2-0 in Seattle as a starter with the Arizona Cardinals.
That's interesting.
How crazy is that? Yeah.
Look, Colt McCoy was one of those guys. He's an interesting story, right? Because he was one of those guys coming out of college. Was it the Browns who drafted him?
Has to been because the Browns drafted like every Big 12 quarterback for like 8 years in a row. But yeah, Colt McCoy got drafted probably 2008 or 2009. I can't remember for sure. Well, no,
I'm looking him up right now to see where he was drafted. But I just Colt McCoy is one of those interesting stories because coming out of Texas, he was just one of those guys who everybody looked at and was like, he could be the next big thing, right? Like he could be that guy who just comes out and just absolutely owns this league, and then he just never materialized. And now he's found himself on a couple of different teams, doing a couple of different things, and he's found a way to get himself back into it. And I'm happy for the guy. I really am. It was Cleveland who drafted him in 2010.
Yep. In the
and
third
then
round.
he went on to
Yep.
play for Washington for a few years. So he hasn't started more than 4 games since 2011.
Yeah.
And he got drafted in 2010.
Yeah.
So
didn't he break his leg or something like that? I can't remember for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought he broke his leg.
and
Yeah.
this is the first time since 2011 that he's won more than one game in a season.
Crazy.
It's insane.
So some more chats here. Let's go ahead and scroll through it. Trent Mason says Lamar Jackson is 35-10 in his career in starts. That's very, very impressive. However, he is 1-3 in the playoffs. Trent, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. Trent also says I don't think any team is elite this year, with almost every division having sleepers. Entire league is up for grabs. I disagree. Look, Trent, I get people, don't want to say this team is elite or that team is elite, but we've definitely got at least one elite team, right? I think we can all agree that at this point the Arizona Cardinals are elite.
Are they though?
I
I mean, like, okay, like let's take the records out of it, right?
How are they not?
So they're what 8-2 on the season, right? They have lost to the Packers, and then who is there that lost to? The Titans? Is that who they lost to earlier in the season?
They lost to they beat the Titans. They lost to the
they lost to the Panthers when it came back, right?
Yeah,
I'm
Cam
back,
came
right?
back in Colt McCoy. Yeah, so they lost to the Packers in that game where Kyler got hurt, and then they lost to the Panthers. They got shellacked by the Panthers. But other than that, I mean, this defense has been insane all year, insanely good all season long. And
come on,
the
now.
offense has been scoring at, what are you talking about? The offense is averaging 33 points a game, Buck.
I am not taking nothing against the offense. The offense is good. The offense is elite. But ever since they lost JJ Watt the day before the Packers game or the week before the Packers game, teams have been able to run the ball on them as they want. That's what the Packers did to them, is they ran the ball on them.
They've given up 21 or more points only 3 times this season.
Okay.
Only 3 times this season.
Right.
Look, they gave up 17 to the Niners. They gave up 13 to the Seahawks. Even when they lost to the Packers, they only gave up 24 points.
Still.
I mean, look,
look what
they did to the Browns defense in Cleveland. They put 37 up on them. What they did to the Rams in LA, they put up 37 against them.
Yeah, that Rams game was a selection. That was a flexing on them.
That it absolutely was. That's I don't understand how anybody can watch this team sitting at 9-2, where the last 3-4 weeks have been played with Colt McCoy at their quarterback and no DeAndre Hopkins, and say that this team still winning and still being 9-2 isn't an elite team. That's just it boggles my mind how you could say that this is not an elite team.
Because when you think of a elite team, I think of it like of a team where so they play the Rams, the Colts, and the Cowboys in the next 5 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do not automatically have the Arizona Cardinals circled in that game. Like, I feel
they beat the Rams by 17 in LA. What do you think they're going to do to them in Arizona?
I think it is going to be a very, very, very close game. Right, I think that game's going to be a 27-24 Rams win. That is when the Rams come back.
Been struggling.
This
Rams team has been struggling. They're not paying very well, and they're getting DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray both back. They're going to kill the Bears. They're going to beat the Rams. They're going to murder the Lions. They're going to beat the Colts. That's probably going to be your best game there for the Arizona Cardinals. It's going to be Cardinals and Colts.
And the Cowboys.
Because the Colts are still going to have to play for something. And at that point, I really feel like the Arizona Cardinals, who are going to be sitting at probably 13-2 heading into that game, it's going to be a very good game. And then maybe against the Cowboys and the Seahawks, you might see a loss because they might start resting guys heading into the playoffs because they're going to have the number 1 seed locked up. This is an elite football team, Buck. This is an elite football team. This team does not lose. Their defense is so damn good that they've given Colt McCoy the first time since 2011, first time in 10 years the guy's ever won more than one game in a season.
Also think that Colt McCoy's better than Kyle Murray.
That's just an asinine. Stop.
So Drew says, why do you not like the Cardinals, Buck? Well, Mr. Drew, why do I not like the Cardinals? Let's flash back to 2018-2019 NFL season. They had a coach by the name, I believe his name is Steve Wilks. They had a quarterback, first of all, rookie head coach, and had never coached a game before in his life before he was hired by the Arizona Cardinals. And then they had a rookie quarterback by the name of Josh Rosen, right? Drafted him, I believe it was number 1 overall, if I'm not mistaken. He was definitely the first quarterback off of the board. The Arizona Cardinals went 3-13 that particular season. They fired their coach. They traded off Josh Rosen after one season. That's why I always will hate the Arizona Cardinals. Ill will for them 100% because of exactly what they did to Steve Wilks and Josh Rosen. Didn't even give them a chance. They're like, you know what? We want Cliff Kingsbury. Was it a good move? In hindsight, maybe. But Cliff Kingsbury is still only a 500 coach still.
And you know what? They're better off for it because look at where they're at now. You know what? I wish the Bears would have done the same thing to Matt Nagy and Mitch Trubisky after one season.
Are they, though? Kingsbury's going to Oklahoma.
Buck, stop. That's a stupid take, too.
No.
All right. You've got a head coach. You've got a head coach that is about to challenge for a Super Bowl title, has one of the best teams in the NFL, and he's going to leave to go coach a college team?
Yeah,
you better throw 150 million to 200 million at him.
He's a single rich man going to a college in Oklahoma.
Buck,
I would do the same. No, but seriously, I believe it was Bleacher Report that first reported it, saying that Oklahoma and Cliff Kingsbury's are in serious talks.
Was the Bleacher Report also the first one to report that Matt Nagy was getting fired after the Thanksgiving game?
That was the trolling account, and I don't know who said it because I heard it from you. So no, but
it was Bleacher Report. It was Bleacher Report.
Was it? But yeah, I mean, there have been several sources saying that Oklahoma and Cliff Kingsbury are in very deep talks of bringing Cliff to Oklahoma. So, what would it take for you to leave Arizona to go to Oklahoma? And 250 million is not the answer. I mean, because obviously they're not going to pay that.
$100,000. Like I'm a regular guy. I'm a regular Joe. Well, you give me $100,000, I'll move wherever the hell you want me to move.
If you're Cliff Kingsbury,
if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I don't leave Arizona. Nothing's taking me out of Arizona. You're not taking me out of one of the best teams in the NFL that I am leading the charge with. A team that has never won a Super Bowl. A team that has only been to I think maybe 1, maybe 2 Super Bowls. And lead me to prom, and I'm going to have the best record in the NFL, and I'm going to leave to go coach Oklahoma.
Yeah,
and have to deal with getting knocked out of the playoffs every year because I'm not in the SEC.
They are in the SEC now.
Oh, that's even worse. All right, well, now I got to face Alabama every day. No.
You don't got to face Alabama because they'll probably end up in the East some crazy way. But they'll have to play.
When did Oklahoma go to the SEC? What the hell did I miss? I thought they were still in the Big 12.
We literally talked about this, like they transfer in 2022, maybe 2023. Texas and Oklahoma both going to SEC.
Oh, okay, so they are still in the Big 12.
Well, yeah, for now, but like next year they'll be in SEC. But.
Yeah,
Drew says, how is that the team's fault? That's the owner and the GM issue, not the team. Well, the owner of the Arizona Cardinals team, it's his fault. So therefore, I hate the owner and the team. Screw them.
For what they did to a player, which many teams have done that to many players and coaches.
They have never released a top pick quarterback after one season with a rookie head coach. Name me one other team. I cannot think of anybody off the top of my head that
Josh
has done that.
Rosen is not good, Buck.
He is good if you got a
He's
chance.
not good. He wasn't good. He wasn't good with Arizona. He's not a good quarterback.
He's been sitting
They
behind
made a
Tom
mistake.
Brady.
They realized they made a mistake, and now they've got Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and one of the best defenses in the NFL. They made a move. They realized they made a mistake. They realized Josh Rosen wasn't their guy early. That's actually kudos to them. That's not a bag on them. That's kudos to them. They had the balls to do something that lots of other teams don't have the balls to do. Don't you think that the Cleveland Browns fans wish that they had the balls to do that to Baker Mayfield right about now?
No, because Baker Mayfield isn't the problem. It's Kevin Stefani. Sorry. That's the
Baker
real issue.
Mayfield makes dumb decisions on the field.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Okay.
We
Drew-
watched 2 different Baker Mayfields on Sunday then.
Yeah. The one on the Hulu commercials and then the one on the field.
The Hulu commercials he's actually very good in.
Yeah. Except for the one where they're giving him like the house keys. I think that one's kind of dumb. The password 6. Drew has one more comment here before we wrap up the night. Like he says, but okay, with Lincoln abandoning his team before the bowl game. All right, so Drew, you were on this for last night. You were on this last night, so we kind of touched on it a little bit here. So, as a former college athlete myself and signing to a college to go play and being recruited, Drew, the highest recruiting time in any athlete's spotlight is after their high school season is over. High school season's wrapped up, most of them Thanksgiving Day. So the biggest recruiting time is from Thanksgiving till the National Signing Day. Oh, sorry, you have an early signing day and sometime in December now. I think December 15th or 20th, something like around there. But the National Signing Day is like February 15th-ish. If you want to build... So first things first is a bowl game to most colleges is simply $2 million in the pocket. They don't care if they win or lose that game. It is all about getting your team to the bowl game for recruiting purposes because you can bring recruits down to a bowl game, Drew. So with that being said, why would you want a coach on your team coaching your bowl game, having your team here for the next 6 weeks or so? Let's say they play a January bowl game, which they probably will. So for 4 to 5 weeks here, he is with a team coaching them for a bowl game that he could give 2 shits about. His heart's already at SC. He is already recruiting for SC. Why do you want your coach there at Oklahoma? 0 cents at all. He is not abandoning his team because the season was over after the conference championship game, which I don't think Oklahoma is in the conference championship, right? It is Oklahoma State and Iowa State or something like that. I don't know, but it is not Oklahoma. So their season ended the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Regular season is over. Postseason is all extra. Actually, postseason is 2022 college football season. Did you know that, Drew? So when you play in a bowl game, it does not count for eligibility for this season. So a player like Zen, like our guy Zen that got redshirted this season, but still played the final 4 games because you can play 4 games in a season. He can start in the bowl game and not lose his eligibility. So how is that abandoning your team at all? Because how about this? If you want to talk about abandoning teams, how about Spencer Rattler? Monday he tweeted like, I'm leaving Oklahoma. Since Monday, he has not practiced with the team. He is not traveling with the team to the bowl game or anything like
He's
just like
terrible
that.
anywhere.
That's abandoning your team.
Look, I don't think it's abandoning your team. I think it was worse that Brian Kelly left for the Notre Dame for 2 reasons. One, they're in the chance for a college football playoff berth. And for 2, that's going to weigh heavily on the committee's decision. They've said that it's going to weigh heavily on their decision on whether or not Notre Dame gets into the college football playoff, because who's going to be coaching them? They said personnel absolutely makes a difference. So I think that's worse for Notre Dame than it is for Lincoln Riley. But look, $100 million, Drew. Look, for $100 million, man. I sorry, but bye. Like, I mean, God, look, I love you guys. I love Buck. I love doing this show. But if somebody came up to me right now and said, "Combs, I'll give you $100 million to go do a show with somebody else," bye. Like, I'm sorry, and I'll give Buck $2 million of the $100 million to drown his sorrows in.
Well, and then Combs would not, give his 2 weeks here because his heart wouldn't be here, right? He would be instantly gone. Like, he would be like, "Hey, Monday we need you to start," right? So Drew says he is a hypocrite. How is it a hypocrite? So
I disagree. I disagree. It's not being a hypocrite. It's college football. You know that. I mean, all coaches in college football are like that. I look at Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is a prime example of that, right? I mean,
3 years heart attack. Off for 3 years. 3 years heart attack. Yep.
Yeah. How many times that he lose Florida? All of a sudden they're gonna get investigated for something. Oh, all of a sudden he's got a heart condition. Then you're gonna look at there were other coaches too that as soon as they get caught doing something illegal, Pete Carroll, as soon as they get caught doing something illegal and they're about to suffer the consequences and not be able to go to a bowl game, they leave their program and they go coach another program. Like it's part of college football. It's what college football has always been. The only issue I take with it is that they don't allow players to do the same thing without penalty.
Which now they are being a lot more lenient on it now. So, I mean, like it is what it is. See, that is the difference between being an adult and a kid, right? I mean, so the kid, you have to do what your adults say. So, and then an adult can do whatever he wants. So,
is one of Drew's 44 favorite teams? Is it Oklahoma?
I'm not for sure because he says Spencer sucks, overrated.
Spencer does suck. He is overrated. He's right.
Yeah. So rumor has it that Spencer Rattler is going to USC as well. So.
Bye. Good luck reviving that program with Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, they also have the top-rated quarterback signed as well to USC. So I don't know. They're doing something. Yeah. But on the flip side, Combs, this happens every year. At the end of November, Thanksgiving Day, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, why go Black Friday shopping when you can sit there and watch ESPN?
If Cincinnati, if Cincinnati doesn't make the college football playoff, watch how quick their head coach becomes the new head coach of Notre Dame.
Yeah, Brian Kelly did.
I'm just saying, that's who they want. That's the word that's who they're targeting. And right now, he's saying he's with Cincinnati because they're in the college football playoff. They get knocked out of that top 4 this weekend. Watch how fast he becomes the Notre Dame head coach.
Yeah, and I think Drew is so upset because it is a head coach. Last year, the Alabama defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator got a head coaching job somewhere, and he didn't coach in the playoff game. What's the big deal about that? Is it because it's a job title raise or what? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
But Combs, set us out, big guy.
Man, our nation, rise up.